Well,
Okay.
if they're female.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the May 17 Jobs Committee.
Okay.
The time is 11:02. If you could please call the order.
Bates.
Here.
Doherty.
Doherty here.
Ford.
Ford present.
Strathman.
Strathman present.
Young.
Young here.
Lewis.
Who's here?
Allen.
Allen present.
Everyone is.
Awesome.
Party.
We actually have a request for remote attendance from Mr. Doherty and Mr. Ford. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, everybody's happy about that. Okay, and then I need unanimous consent for approval of minutes from April 12th.
Madam Chair, I would like to ask for unanimous consent to approve the minutes from April 12th.
Any objections? Okay, as Mavis would say, make it so.
Good job, Madam Chairman.
Yes. Okay, we have no public comments. But I do have a presentation that I'd like to slot in here. We have Mr. Hugo Saltagero, and he is with the Valley Sheltered Workshop in Batavia. And I asked him here, I had the pleasure of going to Pancake Breakfast a couple weeks ago and actually really see what they do there. And I also had, there was a young man who aged out of the school district at 24, and he was home doing nothing, and his mother called me one day frantic, and she's like, you know what? His mind is going to mush because he has nothing to do, nowhere to go. And so I called our workforce development, shout out to you guys over there. And I said, what do we have? And they said, oh, Valley Sheltered Workshop. So we got him in there. He is thriving. It's amazing. And so this is a really great, it fits so much into our jobs. So Mr. Saltagero, and then you can introduce some. Yeah. Please.
Thank you for having me. I'm Hugo Saltagero, the Executive Director of VSW. With me, I brought our board president, Larry Jones. Him and I have created a path forward for our community to have access to more resources. Our disabled community needs and craves more, and we're working together. So thank you for having us. Apologize not knowing how to get started. I didn't know how to follow that last meeting. First time I've ever been here. So kudos to all of you, what you do. And I think that I have squirrel brain. So if something just happens out there, I'm somewhere else, and you guys to be able to handle it here and keep going. Thank you.
And we are expecting you to show us how wonderful our county can be. So yes, right.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for all that came to our pancake breakfast. VSW has been part of the Kane County Batavia community since 1966, our inception. Reverend Johnstone created this. Those that may well know from the past, before 1960s, there wasn't many resources for adults with disabilities in our community, and sheltered workshops were the first that created a door for individuals to enter and be part of the community. So I am very proud to be able to be part of this historic resource for our community and look at it through a lens so with VSW, what we do is we offer permanent supportive services for individuals that traditionally do not have access to employment out in the community. And our other program is our community supportive services, where those same individuals, or some that are functioning at a little higher level, don't have access or don't have the capabilities to produce at we would say a market standard. We specialize with working with small businesses, carving space for them to come in and be able to work at those establishments with 1-2 hours a week. So all of us here, every American identifies by our jobs. We know more about each other's occupations than we know about our marital status, our religion, anything else. We know more about our occupationals. And so we want to create a space where adults with disabilities have that access. Work, and work is very important to our nation's mental health, every individual's mental health, and what 14C, and you're gonna hear that go back and forth, Sheltered Workshop 14Cs. Well, Section 14C of our Fair Labor Act created in 1938, it created an access point for adults with disabling conditions to continue to have access to that vital resource of knowing their identity and their self-worth by able to be part of a family, not support a family. So we'll get into that more. There we go. This was established in 1938 through the Fair Labor Act that created space. So at that time, our nation came together. We're going through a Great Depression. We wanted to create the first federal standardized standards throughout the nation. And what they did, it was so impressive when you look back in history of what we're able to get right. They created minimum wage. They got rid of child labor. They got rid of all these things. And they said, let's make sure that we keep a door open for individuals with disabling conditions. At that time in 1938, individuals that had disabling conditions that the world was seeing was all our returning vets from World War II. And with World War I, we started the Rehabilitation Act. We started some other avenues to try to give them a sense of a path forward. And we found that even with all those resources, individuals still weren't able to return to the market, work in their occupations, because that's what they identified before they went to war. So they wanted to create this door to make sure that everybody has access to that. And the nation was great about it. And they said, look, we're not telling the employers to support the individual, give them access to their identity. But us as a nation, we're going to take care of our vets. And that's where this was created. It worked. A nation got their identity back. A generation got their identity back. And it continued to work. And we end up borrowing this in the 1960s to create 14C facilities like mine. Went too far, sorry. Nope. There we go. The mental health benefits of Section 14C within our community, it gives everybody the vital role of employment is fostering the belonging and self-worth in every individual that has access to that. And we create the safety net and the launching pad for many disabled adults in Kane County and throughout the nation through this. With us in our secured settings and safe places, they're able to carve out their own independence, their own identity, and their own self-worth. Every individual here, all of us, take pride in what we do. Working is so American, we do it after we retire. And just because individuals has disabilities, they should have access to the most vital resource in mental health we have in America. It's having a job. Beyond the financial compensation that we offer through that, what I look at it and I like the way to describe it is, what we have is we have a relationship with Commerce to have creative curriculum. We have monetarize the incentive for individuals to access work. And it's performance-based, so they get to get paid for the things they do. No matter if they can do 1 or 1,000, they get to create their own self-worth through that. At the end of the day, it's not the amount of check, it's them holding a check saying, this is my check. Mom and dad aren't buying this. It's a hat. I have one young man, Daniel, with his, he's a huge Cubs fan. And with all his money, he buys Cubs gears. And you ever see him, he's nonverbal and he'll say hi to you with his Cub hat. And he's proud of that Cubs hat because he bought that Cubs hat. And that's what we create, space where individuals, like I said, can be part of a family, not support a family. VSW is the bridge between Commerce and the disabled community. As we've tried throughout our nation to create pathways and more access for them, the American Disability Act actually came from the work that was done through sheltered workshops. Even with that, we still see an unemployment rate for people with disabilities of upwards of 70–75%. What we do is we create the space where businesses can come and have people with disabilities part of their community, part of what their mission is. We all know how expensive it can be on businesses to make that happen. So what we do is we create that bridge, and what we're able to do is those products that are created by those businesses are able to be done in-house. We don't do 100% of anybody's product line. We do about 2%. What they do is they allow us to borrow that product so we can create those sense of work-like activities within our organization. We're promoting the inclusive employment structure that everyone's craving. Not just ourselves saying that we're part of the community, but now businesses are saying we are taking care of our community right on the floor. The benefits of comprehensive supportive services. So what VSW 14Cs are, it is one of the first mental health services for adults with disabilities. We are able to champion this supportive services by creating a unique experience with individuals that cannot be created anywhere else. All of us love to have leisure. We love to have fun. But most of us, when we go on vacation 3 days in, we want to go back to work because we love what we do. Individuals with disabilities, they feel more empowered, more uplifted when they're feeling part of a structure, a routine, part of having a job. They don't want to have recreational services all the time. Myself, I believe I like going to trampoline place with my kids. It is fun. I believe in heaven. And if I get to heaven and if it's just trampolines 24/7, I'm going to be upset. Some of my best days in my life is when I'm driving home from work and I'm saying, wow, I was able to meet some people's needs. I was able to accomplish something different. I feel a sense of self-worth. On my hardest days at work is when I feel the most part of my community. So what we do is we create that through our programming for the individuals in our community in Kane County. The impact that we have on the community. Prior to coming to VSW, I spent the last decade serving our marginalized community and homeless individuals on the south side of Illinois, of Aurora. I was a director there working with the homelessness, and I found what the importance is of identity. When individuals identify to being homeless, they're less likely to escape homelessness. We have to carve out and create a new identity for them and show them that this is only temporary. So part of the programs I was able to instill there was creating a job program, not a traditional one. What we did is we partnered with local businesses to create specific jobs for the individuals that we're trying to serve that couldn't meet the market standard at that time. I didn't know about Sheltered Workshop at that time, but I was creating that workforce for our people with they're experiencing homelessness. And what we've seen is we've seen a huge decrease in individuals that were returning to us after entering through that program. And I've seen how much of value having a job has to all of us. And what we do is in Sheltered Workshops 14Cs is we create that. We give everybody identity. If you have an identity, I'm no longer going to identify as disabled. I'm going to identify, I have individuals that believe that they're mechanics. I have one young man, Mitch, he thinks he doesn't think he is a record detective. And he works at Kiss the Sky. He does that. I have a young lady, Diane. Diane's nonverbal that's there with us, 58 years old with Downs. And you ask her what she's doing today. She's like, I'm making 1,000 boxes. Realistically, she does 60, but that's 1,000. But she identifies, she looks forward to come in and do that. It's been part of her life for a very long time. And what we do is we strike at the community. VSW serves 35 current families at our current location. We have a wait list just like any other social service that's out there. There's not enough. There's not enough for them. And we're looking for ways to reach more of our community. What does the future look like? The future looks like more sustainable resources like us, more resources that are connecting the American middle class to identities, more resource that's going to expand access to vital services within our own community. VSW's plan is to make sure that no one's on any wait list. Anybody that wants to have access to a job and feel that they are contributing members of society, we want to make sure that we can partner with every business that comes to us and create more locations within Kane County for those individuals never have to wait list. As you alluded to at the beginning of this, a personal friend of yours, you understand what that was, and sitting at home and not using our skills, COVID taught us what that does to us. We were getting paid to stay home, and how horrible that was for us. Anxiety, depression, addiction, everything went up. And think about a community that their whole life is almost experiencing COVID. It's the same thing. So we need to create access, and that's what we're doing here. So thank you very much for inviting my board president, Larry Jones, and VSW to present to you guys. Now I'll leave it to any questions.
Yeah, we have questions, but let me ask the first one because I know everybody wants to know this. Larry, will you come up? So as the head of the board of directors, you're probably the money guy. What should Kane County and our businesses in the area be doing to try to make sure that we don't have a 75% unemployment rate for this, group of individuals? I find that not acceptable.
It is not acceptable. What we are embracing right now is different grants. We are looking for different ways that we can be part of a person's world, and they can help support this vital resource that we offer to them. We are exploring every opportunity to accomplish that. We are very fortunate in the fact that we do have an endowment that we can draw a little from to help us with the expenses. The biggest thing, honestly, is, and I don't want to get into this, but there is legislation right now to do away with 14C, which is what allows us to pay less than minimum wage. For example, if minimum wage is, let's use a number like $10, just for that I can do the math quick, and we pay everybody $10, 10 cents a box to assemble, that means they assemble $100. $100, they get their $10. They've made it. Some of our people can do $200 boxes in an hour. Some can do 60 a day. And if we have to pay 60 a day, $10 an hour, we can't make it. And that's why we need 14C. It is not our only tool. It is a tool. It teaches them community, teaches them involvement. But that's a very key part of letting these people help support their own organization. So I hope I responded to that question.
Yes, you did. Is this state legislation or federal?
This is state legislation that we're up against right now. I was able to beat it last year. It's coming up again. What happens is whenever you have a conversation around the resource of 14Cs, as you can clearly see, this is a resource to connect individuals to mental health services. Whenever they have the conversations when making these decisions, they take it back to wage. Individuals that are with us, it's not the amount of the paycheck, it's the intrinsic value of having access to a job. And if you have that and you understand that, the ROI on creating this kind of service within our community to the end user far surpasses any other activities that they can do with organizations or with any kind of self-serving services for them. So the more people in the state level that I speak to and they come and see this firsthand, walk away and they're like, yeah, this is a mental health. This is social services. This is not labor and commerce. We have the unique ability of partnering with Department of Labor to create that pay scale and help people feel that they're taking a paycheck. And that's where the uniqueness and the gold is at. Right? It's the partnership. It's not the leading by Department of Labor.
Anybody else have questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. That sounds like a very cool program. And all these are people who live in their homes with their families and they come to you on a daily basis. Is that how it works?
That is correct. We have everybody except one lives in a group home.
Oh,
Everybody lives with their families. All of our participants currently serve, they're from Kane County, Aurora to Elgin and everywhere in between.
thank you for your presentation. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you both for bringing this up and thank you for inviting them. it is social service. But the question I have here in Kane County, how many people do we need to serve that you are unable to serve, or organizations similar to yours? We know we have AID and those, but those are different organizations. Yours is unique. So with that uniqueness, what's the bandwidth that is still out there, the capacity that we can still reach out to?
Uh,
Do you know the number?
I don't know the number offhand. I could tell you state numbers. Currently in the state, we have individuals that were plus 4,000 individuals that are accessing this resource. Before, that number was quadrupled a few years ago. The ability to obtain 14C certification and certificates year after year is getting harder. One way of getting rid of something you don't want is not to legislate it out, it's to make it go to a more stringent process to get what you need. And that's what's happening. A lot of organizations are just transitioning over to being adult day centers, which, you know, dollars and cents. Adult day centers, they pay out at a higher rate reimbursement than 14Cs. 14Cs is one of the hardest services to have for our community, but is the most rewarding for the end user. Nothing else produces this outcome that 14Cs does. And when you look at it, that aspect, the number is astonishing. My phone is ringing off the hook with kids aging out of school at the age of 22, having nowhere to go. And I have parents that can't afford to pay. We know friends of ours that when they're not able to access ours, they're paying up to $70 a day for adult day services. And we went to go visit one of the young men at their adult day services, and we walked in and seen him. He was literally sitting in the corner coloring. No interaction with no one, just sitting there coloring. You come and see that same young man at VSW, you can't get in him to be quiet. He's up running around. He loves taking out the garbage 20 times a day, even if there's nothing in there. And the amount of work he does, not much, but amount of value he brings to our community is priceless. And that's what it's about. It's about saying you have a place and you always will.
So what is your current wait list?
Our
in
current
Kane
wait
County?
list,
Yeah, your wait list.
my wait list is 18 right now. We serve 35. In the past 2 years since I joined VSW, I look at it through my lens and my perspective, and when it opened this up to everyone, we went from serving 14 families to 35 families in the last year and a half. And we have a current wait list of 18, which is probably growing 2 to 3 people every week. I have messages and voicemails, emails, everything. What happened is school districts from Bolingbrook to Huntley has come and seen the model that we have here in Kane County and what I'm doing in Batavia, and they are screaming for us to open up locations. City of Aurora, School District 131, 129, 302 in St. Charles. Every school district we meet, they come and they see what we're doing. We become part of the conversations in the IEPs for transitional programs for individuals exiting schools. So it is, they are seeing the vital resources needed. They need us to be more. And we need people to partner with us so we can be more.
Thank you. Go ahead.
One more comment, if I may. What's not only important is to serve the individual, the whole individual, which you are doing well in a small capacity. But I know there's aspirations to move that further. But it's also very important for the parents, the family. It enables those individuals then to have a respite, to be able to go to work, to be able to clean their homes, be able to go shopping, to take care of their own personal needs. Because you don't have a child, an adult child, who may have need for your attention. And to leave an individual sitting on a couch for the rest of their life, watching TV or twiddling their thumbs is a horrible waste of a human being.
I agree with you. One of the stories we have there, we have, if you guys ever come down, you meet Miss Jackie. Miss Jackie's 60 years old. prior to meeting us and coming within our community. She was in a county farther away, in her subsidized housing by herself for the last 20 years, by herself, watching TV. Caretaker comes to check on her and leaves. She had nothing else that she can look forward to. Since being with us and joining VSW, she wakes up, she's with us 3 days a week. She wakes up at 5:30, well before anybody else in her house, and waits for them to make her lunch and bring her to work, because this is her job. And you ever walk into VSW, you will hear Miss Jackie talking, and she will tell you she doesn't like to talk. She has work to do, but a lot more talking happens.
Mr. Roth.
Roth here. Are most of your, I don't know if you want to call them clients or whatever, from the Batavia area then, or is it Kane County as a whole?
Most of our we call them participants.
Okay, thank
The
you.
reason we call them participants, when I joined, I asked them, everybody's always, when we're in service providers, we're always giving people names. And I was like, what do you want? He's like, I want to be your partner. I'm like, all right, you're my partner.
Okay.
So they're my participants. And
Okay.
a majority come from Batavia, Geneva, St. Charles.
Okay.
That's probably all of them from Kane County, except one. And from those three cities, the most.
Thank you.
Oh, and Aurora, sorry. Well, since we
No
opened
problem.
up a lot of Aurora.
Yeah, I guess we can include Aurora.
I'm an Auroran too.
So his family is the taco people in Aurora. Just no plugs for the family, but you know,
Pancho's Tacos.
chose tacos
That's
time.
And
You
you didn't
know.
have them bring samples?
Yeah, we were thinking,
the owner of Pancho's Tacos, John Salgero, was a lifelong police officer, had passed away a few years ago. Through a participant we had there, knew his son, David. If you've ever been to Tinseltown, David takes the tickets there, Tinseltown,
was
and
a-
he came to meet one of our events, and I seen him, and I see my aunt walk in, and they were so happy to see me, because David has not had access to any of this his whole adult life. For the past 18 years, he worked at a movie theater just taking tickets, and he talks about being there. No one talks to him. He's by himself. He does a job. His mom says they take advantage of him a lot. He has to work the holidays, but that's his job. He says since joining VSW, he feels part of a community. This is where he comes to socialize. He is our designated party planner. He's always caring for anybody. Like, this is where he can't wait to get to. Whenever we do a lot of functions outside of VSW. I'm a Knight of Columbus. I'm a Rotarian. I'm a lot. Like a lot of you guys, we do a lot. And when I go volunteer with the Knights, I take them with me. We went out and did Tootsie Rolls with the Knights. And the one coolest thing is I want to teach all of them what it is to be a real American. And I tell them all the time, my staff call me a Catholic, and I'm very active in my community. And so the participants are like, you do things on the weekends all the time? I'm like, yeah, like you don't get paid for them? No, that's what we do. That's how we serve our community. So I took, they were with us, and I was hanging out at Joel with Mitch, and Mitch doesn't do anything unless he's getting paid. Like, Mitch, help me take out the trash. Am I getting paid? I'm like, everything. And we're sitting there at Joel, and this one moment happens, and it's quiet. No one's there. And he looks at me and goes, you do this every weekend? I go, what? He goes, every Sunday you out here doing Tootsie Rolls? And I was like, no, we do this once a year. We do this to raise money for all the organizations. He goes, and you don't get paid for it? No. And he just looks at me and he goes, I like this.
Oh,
I like this. Now, Mitch, you can't get him to stop volunteering everywhere. He wants to be a part of every part of his community. So that's what we're teaching. That's what you get from here. It's the safety net and the launching pad to teach everybody what it is to be a citizen of America.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for coming, both of you. And I'm going to extend the offer if any of you ever want to go to the Valley Sheltered Workshop. They're right on Main Street in Batavia, like 10 minutes from here. And I have their contact information, as does Mark and Chris. So, but we would call ahead.
We do actually have an event coming up every last Friday of the month in all the nice months. We create, it's called Community Fridays. We started a few years ago, last year. It was really small. The last one, we had over 110 people just show up on a Friday. You come for 11:30. One of the local businesses sponsors it. You come, you eat lunch with us, and then you get to see what we do firsthand and be part of that. Everybody from the mayor to our state reps come, to every business owner that's in Batavia, Geneva. It is amazing opportunities from 11:30 to 12:30 is lunch. And then if you're up to it and you don't have to rush back to the office, from 12:30 to 1:30, we play bingo. Yes,
Could you send me that information?
I will send
And
it.
I'll
I'll
share
put
it.
you on my mailing list.
Awesome. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing.
All right. Let's see, we have our job committee priorities. I'll turn it over to you guys, and you're not gonna be able to top that, so, but try. Try.
Just one quick announcement relative to our fabulous Fox National Water Trail. We had a great meeting a week ago Friday with our landowners and economic partners along the Fox River to talk about the signage that we have a state grant for and our ARPA funds. And we have an example prototype down in the auditorium below. It's solar powered. This unit is plugged in because it's inside, but it is solar powered. And there's a lot of excitement generated, a lot of great ideas on where to locate those signs. And the idea again is to connect the tourists and river users with the restaurant, shopping, and cultural opportunities that we have in our communities along the river. So feel free to take a look. If you have any comments or questions about it, just let me know, or Karen Miller.
And I just have one item. If you could pull up that slide. Thank you. I just wanted to, first of all, I'm sorry I was unable to join the meeting last month. I was really sick. So that's the only way you can keep me away from all you, the job committee. So my apologies. So I just wanted to give everyone a quick unemployment update. Big thing is we heard recently that the national unemployment data, it upticked by 0.1% last month's jobs. Jobs numbers did not hit their mark at all. There were about 240,000 expected jobs. The national number was closer to 175. If you dig down even deeper, most of those jobs were in healthcare and social aid programs, more than half of them. So I'm trying to find more ways to get to the granular level for what Kane County is, but we are seeing a decrease at Kane County and Illinois unemployment rates. So that's good news. In April, I'll probably expect it to stay flat. If not, maybe tick down again. We haven't had any rather big news in terms of companies leaving or firing. So that's another great news. So I just want to share some good news for once. John, are you going to talk about your report?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. And so, but with that, I'll just take any questions on the unemployment numbers.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can I ask what
Ms.
is?
Strathman?
Yes, Strathman here, sorry.
Thank you.
I would just like to know, what's the definition of social aid jobs?
Social aid it's a pretty broad category, but social aid tends to be jobs that are government funded or for nonprofits.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then next, the committee had asked for more information in terms of what is actually happening countywide. Our economic development consultant, John Grueling, has scoured the news and put together a very impressive list. It's exciting to see what is happening. So John, I'll turn it over to you to just make any comments and answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Madam Chairman. You hopefully have in front of you the report. A couple of caveats. One of the things that is not included in this report are retail activities. And the reason for that is, number one, the access to that information can be pretty challenging. Unlike manufacturing, office, distribution, logistics information, there's some pretty good databases. I call them 30-day databases. You get new information every 30 days. That's not the same with retail. Most of the retail, quite frankly, it'd be better, and this is something the Economic Development Organization is going to be able to do, build a relationship with the local chambers of commerce. They tend to have much better local service and retail information, both in terms of companies, whether they're growing, relocating, closing, and then, of course, the job numbers. So that's a caveat. So what you have here is that I went back to January of 2023 to get a pretty good window of the activity level in Kane County. And I can tell you, having both done this in Will County and observed the other counties, and I'm excluding Cook on this comment, in the city of Chicago, our activity level here in Kane County is very good. And what's interesting is we continue to see a nice upward trend in manufacturing jobs. And that is something that we could probably get a little more granular on at the county level. But if you look at the new developments, so the report's broken into two pieces: new developments on the first 3 pages, and the bottom of the 3rd page is what we're calling speculative construction. And I can address some of those developments in a minute. I wanted to point out what I would call some very significant activity. And on the first page, I'm going to destroy this name. Is it Antunes? AJ Antunes? Is that how you say that? Antunes. They have made a tremendous decision by moving out of Carroll Stream and locating in moving into Geneva. I don't have the entire backstory on this, but I do know through a conversation with some other economic developers in the region that this project initially was not looking at Illinois so much as perhaps looking at a neighboring state, which is unfortunately not unusual. But I think the community, as well as the availability of this site at Kirk Road and Division Street, this company is building a 375,000 square foot manufacturing facility, a 15,000 square foot school, a 19,000 person auditorium, 20,000 square feet reserved for compatible future use, and some 1,200 parking spaces. The initial job count will be in the vicinity of basically where they are right now, about 400, but they're projecting a growth, and I don't have obviously a time frame on that, but upwards of 1,000 people, and again, primarily in the manufacturing space. The other comment I'll make about this report is not every project on the first 3 pages has a job number to it. The reason is either it wasn't available, it wasn't reported in the source documents that I used, or because they're private companies and oftentimes going toe-to-toe with some pretty fierce competitors, it's not information they necessarily want out there. So as we grow this report, and this is sort of the first report that we're going to be able to build on. So we'll be able to go back as new information becomes available, include job numbers, maybe investment levels, and then moving forward, hopefully we'll be able to capture more activity. One of the things that I think we can do immediately is ask all of our community partners to begin reporting their development activity to us. It's not a mandate, it's a request. And the reason for that is, as most of you know, economic development is one of those things that most everybody likes. And they like it better when they know things are going well in their backyard. So asking our communities to, I'd be surprised if they wouldn't literally want to give us that information, and we'll have much more accurate and localized information. But again, since we haven't had this initiative so far, we haven't just had the infrastructure to do that. Another interesting project is Calypso Energy, again on the first page. This is a solar energy equipment manufacturer locating at the old Caterpillar campus in Montgomery. And again, this is a project they did announce somewhere upwards of 600 jobs, which again is very substantial. You know, it's interesting. It used to be clean jobs or green jobs were something that was, that's a neat thing. We got to have that. The reality is almost every job today is a green job because companies are applying a green philosophy, if you will, to what they're doing in their buildings. And it's because not just because they want to save the climate and the earth, even though that certainly can be a charge of theirs. It makes good business. It makes good business. Their customers want it, their employees want it, and we're seeing more and more of this sort of public facing of companies that used to keep things pretty private. But if they're doing something very positive, certainly something like helping the overall climate, and I don't want to get into the discussion we heard at the last meeting, but the reality is there is a benefit and a reality that manufacturers are operating in. This happens to be an energy company, a solar energy company. The second page, this is a little old news, but Flender Corporation, this was a great save. And the city of Elgin did a great job. They're retaining 140 jobs. Again, this is a manufacturing operation, and they're going to add 50 new jobs. What's interesting about economic development at the community level is a lot of people think we've got to recruit new companies. We have to have ribbon cuttings. We have to have the governor here. We want to give away money. The reality is the best economic development that we can focus on is keeping companies here. Business retention and expansion. If I have anything to say about it, will be our number one mission, if you will, for a Kane County Economic Development Organization. I always tell organizations and communities, we have no business recruiting new companies here if we're not taking care of people that are making payday today.
Yep.
And if we start losing companies at the same rate we're winning companies, we're not winning. That's not a good report card. And you know what? It's not as sexy. It may not be all the news and all the things that we'd like to see when we're successful at something, but in long term, it's more of a legacy activity, and it's going to have a much better impact on our overall community health. Hollywood Casino, it doesn't really fit into this, but it's such a huge investment, both in terms of construction jobs and ongoing permanent jobs. Again, it's a replacement facility. And I think the gambling business is getting extremely competitive, more so than I think anybody thought when they first allowed casinos in Illinois. And the fact that Hollywood is actually building 2 new casinos. They're rebuilding their one in Joliet and this one. They're putting all the cards on the table as far as Illinois is concerned, part of the pump. The Maybach International, they're building a $20 million new headquarters and warehouse in Elgin. Again, 200 to 250 new jobs. And these big job creation projects are significant. This is big business, making big business in Kane County. When we see numbers like 50, adding 100, saving 50, growing another 50, we've got tremendous opportunity to market that to other companies, both ones that are here. Existing companies see a big company like Maybach or Flender making these kinds of investments. It's a positive signal, if you will, for the local economy. Perla is a new project. We're still trying to figure out exactly how they're going to start their business, but they did buy a building in North Aurora. They're an international, a Polish/German food company. And food processing and food manufacturing is a very big business here, as you all know, in Kane County. And speaking of that, the next page, US Foods, they're 310,000 square foot food technology center and distribution center. This is not your father's warehouse. There's a lot of technology here. There's a lot of experimentation, research, and development going into their products. We'd like to see them do a little more assembly and manufacturing here, but quite frankly, this is a big win for for Kane County. So that gives you a pretty good sense of what's going on here. You can, I don't know a lot about these other projects. A lot of them are renewals of leases. In some cases, there are expansion of existing leases. And again, those are all positive things. The speculative development, and if you look under the covers at this stuff, it's mostly industrial distribution type space. We all know about the explosion of e-commerce in this country, and for good or for bad, here in the upper Midwest, we are a stronghold of transportation, distribution, logistics activity. Kane County enjoys a tremendous location asset. And with 90 and 88, we've got critical corridors for product distribution. I was telling Chris earlier today, the number one goal of Amazon is same day delivery for everyone every day. I mean, that is their mission. That's and somehow they're going to do that with drones, with airplanes, with a fulfillment center in everybody's backyard. Hopefully that doesn't happen. The one thing I will point out is even though a lot of these are being built as spec for distribution type, many of these buildings are very suitable for manufacturing. The building that Perla is buying in North Aurora was built essentially as a spec warehouse, and this is a food manufacturing distribution company. I would say that there's a positive trend in that we don't have a lot of million square foot spec buildings being built. And there's probably a lot of reasons for that. I suspect some of the reasons is the local zoning control of the municipalities. There doesn't seem to be a week or a month go by where there isn't, folks showing up at a city council meeting with torches, saying we don't want that distribution center in our backyard. And a couple of years ago, some communities would die for that kind of development. I think communities are taking a much more a focused look at that. It's a shame to see some of these large office headquarter campuses in the western and northwestern suburbs being turned into essentially industrial parks for distribution operations. I have a personal philosophy about that. I won't share it here, but I think we all should be careful about what is this going to look like in 50 years. And a lot of these office complexes are only 30 or 40 years old. So, but again, these are some long-term realities. So anyway, I think if there's a good news in these spec buildings is they're scalable. They're some of them are only 20 or 30,000 square feet. You have a few 400,000 footers in there, and they're being built to capture big distribution centers. So with that, it's probably more than you wanted to know about all the activity here, but I think it's a very positive thing. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? 1 second, please. Did you guys have any questions?
Maybe one more of these.
Oh, okay,
Sorry about that.
go ahead.
Thank you. This is a very exciting report, and I think we all look forward to getting to learn more about what businesses are coming into Kane County and our response to those businesses. Positive responses, I would think. But the one thing that I'd like to note is that the higher the economy gets here in Kane County, the earning power, the better the retail will be. The more robust, the better the economy, the more robust will be the retail. And with that, we'll see the growth of retail stores here. I reflect on a store that I like is Nordstrom's. I can't afford Nordstrom's, but it's nice to go downtown and visit it. I do like Nordstrom's Rack, which is their discounted store, which is coming here to Kane County, opening up next year. I also would like to comment that Whole Foods, which is a grocery store that probably most of us here go to for only special occasions, because it's costly. But nonetheless, the product that they have is exceptional. And that's coming to St. Charles. So we're seeing, what is it, I'm saying this, we're seeing some pretty high-end market that is coming here. And the reason why is that we've got growth opportunities with these high-paying and well-paid manufacturing jobs that are coming through to Kane County. So I think there is a direct correlation of what this is going to entail. It's a beautiful county. And manufacturing is recognizing that it's a great place for their employees to work. It's a great place to develop their businesses and for their corporate leaders, executives to live as well. So well done. This is going to be an exciting prospect
This
for
is
us.
very interesting. No questions? So thank you for doing this. This is
Thank you.
very, very interesting. I think is the sooner we get this full economic development initiative off the ground, the better. Because, you know, we still haven't determined what we want to look like when we grow up, you know?
Closer.
I did read the article in the newspaper. Very good job. So,
Well, I have one more item.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Two wonderful things happened at County Board this week. One is you renewed the contract for me to work with John Gruling for another year. So thank you for that. Thank you. That's
it was
it's
hard, but we got through it.
so that how much he brings to our team cannot be said in words. So I appreciate that. And of course, the funding through the ARPA for the EDO is also wonderful news. So it's actually been a year. So I think in June, we're going to put together our next economic development roundtable on June 14th. It's
So
the
interesting.
yeah, the timing works out great. John was talking about how we get our communities involved in talking about good news. That's one of the topics we're gonna have there. We're still working on finalizing the economic development strategic plan, so that hopefully we'll be ready for prime time at that. And of course, with the funding for the EDO set in stone, we're getting a lot of questions and people are really excited. So I just think it's time to have our roundtable. So you know, I'll start sending out invites to everybody. I accept, we'll have it here, but I expect we're gonna have a huge turnout. We've been averaging about 35 per roundtable in prior meetings, but the excitement level is high for this one. So just something to look forward to for next month.
Is that the day of our next jobs committee?
Yes, it'll be about immediately following the jobs
Good
committee
at
meeting.
You're gonna be on time next. Cool, cool.
Or else she's saying.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Yes, Ms. Rathman.
Mr. Athman here. I just want to say, kind of doubling back to the previous meeting, we want to be friendly to developing and we want to give guidelines to the developers who come. And that's why the meeting we did earlier was so important too. We don't want to have people just come in and do whatever they want here. We want to protect our community, our resources, our natural resources, and our constituents. But we also need to be smart about all of the above.
Yeah, I always say we have to balance our agriculture, our beautiful Fox River.
Microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. We got to balance our agriculture, our beautiful Fox River, our manufacturing, which I love. And, you know, we
All
want
of
the
it.
whole package as we are right now. We want to make sure that we continue it that way for our grandchildren's grandchildren.
Yep.
Madam Chair. Me again.
Yes.
When we say that King County is very beautiful, we want to keep it that way, and manufacturing and beauty can go together if we're careful.
Yeah.
So
If we're thoughtful.
careful, yes.
Okay, you guys have anything more? Because I have a question. I think I've been reading a lot about IMAC and our organizations that, do you want to talk about that for a second? Are you prepared?
Sure, yeah. So you've seen some of the news that we obviously launched the partnership program with IMEC for manufacturing in Kane County. Our Lighthouse, we have a first cohort that was also just announced. They're going to be, they're setting the final date for their first meeting as a cohort. They're already working on applications for the second cohort and the third cohort. They've had a lot of interest. So that's also very exciting. And the Valley Industrial Association, one of our key partners in manufacturing, hosted the workforce pipeline meeting. We had some great partners show up for that. That again is part of that whole picture of how do we get 75% of our persons with disabilities or on the spectrum that are unemployed, get them involved in productive jobs and help meet the needs that our manufacturers need. So a lot of exciting things happening there.
Thank you. I think it goes back to what John said, that it's very important that we retain our current businesses and help them to grow. So that's why I asked you, because I think it just goes hand in hand so well. Any questions before we move on?
I have one
Yes.
thought, for the team behind us. And in light of what John said, and in light of the meeting that happened before, can we put together guidelines? And this is just a theoretical question, because I don't know if it's at all possible to ensure that Kane County has green manufacturing. Is that possible? Because we know the manufacturing sites I've been in are pristine, a lot of robotic, a lot of new technology. They pride themselves in making sure that it is a healthy environment for their workers, and that the product that they are delivering is healthy. I mean, that's what I have seen. I'm sure that there's some that may not be as high standard as others, but I think that's a small percentage. I think many of them are going to green renewable energy, green product development, because that's where the market is. So could we, I mean, how do we put that kind of emphasis, welcoming new business, and having known that Kane County really respects and honors that approach to having a clean manufacturing environment with little waste and high productivity?
John?
I think the goal is noble and doable, but I think we have to be careful as how that gets messaged, because it can sound to a manufacturer like it's more regulation. And I think the best way to influence behavior is incentivize it. So instead of looking at how can we make companies do something, maybe we can financially encourage them. You know, one of the successes of the Pritzker administration is the funding that he's been able to get out of the legislature for, renewable energy, for the electric vehicle industry, I mean, it's just, those are positive things, but they're incentives. So I think a combination of some sort of, we'd like to see more green, and oh, by the way, here's some things that we might be able to do to help you. I don't know what those are, but you know, it could range everything from low interest loans using that program to grants that we could secure from other people's money, and then even looking at things like tax abatements. I mean, there needs to be some give, I guess, before we get too much.
Perhaps going forward with that, as this becomes a little bit more sophisticated, we really dive into that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Especially when we put together the economic committee, we can have guidelines and suggestions.
Nobody's using their
I
mic.
know, saying something so important and I can't hear you.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm just still so, in awe of the last meeting and how great Mavis did.
My heart is almost slowing down, but
And now I have no idea what I was about to say. Oh, I think as we go with our economic development, we can certainly do education about, what we prefer. And our messaging is everything to what you said. We don't want to say, oh, we're government and we're here and we're going to make you do this. But I think, especially our manufacturing, I think it's so proven that the more green they use and the more, there's just so many things they can do that actually make their business better. And that's where IMAC will come in and help too. So yeah, I definitely think we want to keep it on the horizon. Good suggestion.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Spades.
You knew I couldn't be quiet on this one. So many companies have a sustainability plan that goes right along with this. By the way, Tesla does not, but most good companies have a sustainability plan that we could ask for. And I love the incentives. That's always, the carrot's always better than the stick, although a stick may come in handy sometimes. So we can work from their sustainability plan, and that's a great program. Let's do that. I like that.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Roth. Mr. Roth.
just a quick comment. We're talking about new companies, but I think we need to make sure we work with our existing companies because, yeah, because we don't want to be, like you said earlier, we don't want to lose them.
No, for sure.
As they bump up their sustainability, they could also be eligible for, incentives.
If there's no questions, let's move on because we have my other favorite half, the Office of Community Reinvestment, Workforce Development Division.
Good morning, everybody.
Scott.
We do have two items on the agenda for you. Of course, we've included our monthly expenses, the AP report that you'll see behind the agenda. And then we have one action item for you today. This is the time of year when we begin to anticipate our new program year beginning. Just a reminder, you'll recall that our program year aligns with the state's fiscal year. So July 1st is the kickoff of our new program year. And we do anticipate awards under both the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, as well as the Trade Adjustment Act. The resolution that we have for you today authorizes acceptance of those funds for program year 2024, and it also authorizes a number of contracting actions. You'll recall that we do work with a mix of local agencies throughout the three-county area to deliver and implement services for the public. There's a list, and I apologize that it's not properly aligned in your packet. We'll see if we can get that fixed going forward. Formatting is always an interesting challenge when it comes to Legistar. So we're asking you to send this resolution on through the approval process. As a final note, I just want to say that all of the activity that you see in this resolution has been authorized by our Workforce Development Board, which oversees this program for the three-county area.
All right, I need a motion in a second.
Alan. Chair, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
Wait seconds.
Okay. What you got? Okay, it's fine. All right. Any comments, questions? No? Okay. Mr. Berger, could you,
Yes.
as we go on further in this year, could you bring us just a little information about these different providers? Because I think like APS training is fascinating. And obviously we know about ECC and Wabansi, but a few of these other ones, if you could just bring back a little bit about what they actually do.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. We have a series of executive summary pages, handouts that we provided you previously. And these agencies are captured in that information along with their contact information, how to apply for services, and where to go for help. So I'd be happy to update that and get this back to you in the future.
Okay. That'd be awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, if we don't have any questions, we can call the roll. Can we?
Yes. Bates,
Bates, yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Strathman,
Yes.
Young. Oh, he left. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Allen.
Alan, aye.
That passes.
Okay. Then we need, Mr. Roth.
I just want to do a data boy. In King County Connect this week, there was a thing about the two houses built in Geneva from Scott's organization Workforce. He had given me a tour back in December, and it was a very informational. And it's funny, I was getting some calls from voters concerned with false rumors and stuff. So I tried to set them straight. But that's an example of where we're able to use federal funds to help our communities. And especially first-time buyers.
Yeah.
Right, Scott?
That is correct, sir. That project, I'm happy to report, has been completed. Both the units have been sold to income-eligible households. And they both moved in and have already made themselves at home with some nice patio furniture on the front porch and that kind of thing. So things seem to be going very well with that project. Thank you.
You're
good.
welcome. I drive by
Thanks for
them
bringing
every
that
day,
up.
so.
Madam Chair.
Scott, what neighborhood is it? Are the homes?
Mr. Roth is referring to two homes that are on East Side Drive, which is about a block north of Route 38.
It's across
the
the
co-
street from the Geneva Fire Station and the, what's the pharmacy now?
Right behind CVS. excuse
Yeah,
me.
thank you. And CVS is on the corner of 38 and East
Oh,
Side.
Those are beautiful.
They tore down a big old one and they built two. And I'm jealous. They're not very inexpensive, but because of the program, we were able to get first time buyers in there. And that's the whole purpose
Oh,
of that
but
program.
Scott, those are lovely.
Yes, they are.
Well,
And
Yeah,
they're
they
very
turned
well
out
made.
they turned out very nice. We're happy with
Yes.
them.
oh, they're enviable, lovely. I mean,
But shared with me, we're only doing about 10 to 15 a year across the county of that type of program.
That's
I mean,
correct.
If we could get additional funding and bandwidth, that would be a great program for first time buyers.
Is this a Habitat for Humanity?
No,
No.
it's, the title is what? Scott, you're the expert on the terminology.
We worked with a Batavia-based housing builder. His name is Spillane and Sons, Mike Spillane and Sons.
Okay. Very good. Now I'm going to have to go read that because I did not read it this week and I'm usually very thorough, but thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
All righty. Okay. Did we put the reports on file? We didn't, right? Yes, no new business.
I need it. We did. Did we?
What? No, we did not because he interrupted us.
Pardon me?
We need unanimous consent to put the reports on file.
It's, would ask for unanimous consent.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I have no comments, but I know that my best friend here does.
I'll limit this because of our time. I wanted to, I live a reasonably closed life at this point, so I look at newspapers quite a bit. Wanted to do a shout out to Aurora for another, taking an unused property or an underused property and turning it into 20 independent living units at St. Paul Lutheran School, where that was. So thank you for doing that. I am not here enough to know how much we talk about Fermilab, but I certainly got interested in this headline, which said Fermilab generates $1.3 billion and enables more than 5,000 jobs here in Illinois. That's
Wow.
nothing to sneeze at.
Wow.
And then we had Kane County companies that tried really hard and got lots of support to be the coolest thing made in Illinois.
Oh, yeah. That was
But
fun.
do we know who won? And this article has to do with the Komatsu mining truck, which won. And here's what they say about it. The truck, made in Peoria, has a hauling capacity of up to 400 tons, has new innovations in suspension, transmissions, electric drive technology, and autonomous operation, and weighs in at more than 1.3 million pounds. So maybe you got to be the coolest thing based on weight, but this is nonetheless and none of our companies should feel bad to have lost to the Komatsu mining truck.
And that was really cool because we've lost Caterpillar. I mean, we've lost so many of those heavy industrial things. So I thought that was really cool too. that they won.
Piggyback on that, I think what really was outstanding for our companies in Kane County is the high number percentage that we had in the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, and the Final Four. So the fact that, we had such a high percentage that made those final cuts was really outstanding. We didn't win. It's hard to beat a monster truck,
Right.
But we had some pretty cool products. They appreciated, shout out to Julie Mann for her article and our mapping planner for putting a map in terms of where they were. They had good distribution around the county. But to celebrate and promote that they made those cuts. And March Madness will come around next year.
Yeah, that was fun. I voted continually, and every one of them was different. They're all so unique.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, and that's what I love about, like, especially this list here. They're very unique, you know, and things like, I didn't even know we needed that, but we do. When you look at it, we do need those things. So anyway, do you have more comments?
No.
Okay. Thank you all for giving up part of your lunch hour. And if we have nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
Faith moves.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Have
everybody.
a wonderful weekend.
Okay, thank you.
And all in favor?